biological change is all around us. In the seasons, in the life cycles of living organisms, and in the countryside of our childhoods. But what of before? Charles Darwin is quoted as saying, "Nothing in the history of life is more constant than change." But what changes in Darwin's own countryside would the pioneering naturalist Gilbert White have spotted? White died 90 years before Darwin was even born. And as the first naturalist to describe the harvest mouse, one of our smallest British mammals, what would he make of its rarity now? Today, biodiversity loss and climate change are two key issues that worry us. WWF's Living Planet report of 2020 reveals a 68% drop in wildlife populations, figures that have been tracked since 1970, but we seem to have forgotten what was lost before. The past is gone, but stored in rewilding projects, nature reserves and the wider countryside is an ecological memory for the future, if we can just recognise it exists and care for it. Citizen science, through which the public gather data for scientific research, is growing in strength with every year. From counting bees, butterflies and birds to monitoring pollution on land, in the air and in our seas. There's never been a greater choice of how to help. The British Trust for Ornithology's website, for example, highlights projects like surveying breeding birds and recording nests. And the RSPB's Big Garden Birdwatch attracts thousands of amateur counters of all ages. In 2021 alone, some 17 million birds were counted in the biggest garden birdwatch ever. Instructions are simple. Choose an hour in the allotted weekend at the end of January. Then count the highest number of each bird species that land in your garden. Easy! Despite enthusiasm and people power, citizen science still attracts criticism of surveyor expertise and recording bias. So just to see how much my favourite survey does vary, I joined the RSPB for another garden birdwatch, but also tested some common variables like food choice and time of day. For a close-up all-day spying session on my birds, I rigged up 4 motion-sensitive cameras with a triggered 15-second filming function, close to a range of foods. The menu included peanuts, soaked sultanas, mixed fine seed, suet blocks, mealworms and apple slices. Tasty! And here's what I found. At the time of filming, the 2022 final results weren't ready, but submitted data from across the UK was already showing expected trends. Since I spotted 9 species, let's have a look at the top 9. Watch how 7 of the 9 bird species are common to all 3 lists with tweaks in position. And how do my skills match up to my 4 trap cameras? This bar chart records my count records between 12 and 1 PM. Surprisingly, the trap cams counted less than me. The starling count was less at just 5 birds. The house sparrows came in at 3. Collared doves were closer to my count at 3. The trap cams didn't record any wood pigeons, but the blue tits and blackbird numbers were lower at 1 each. Great tits, robins and dunnocks were the same at just 1 each. So lesson 1. It looks like the human eye is a better overall recorder. What food did the birds go for? This is where the trap cameras came in really handy. Let's have a look at 4 of the species. Starlings don't seem fussy. Given a chance, they'll take most types of food. Great tits definitely show a preference for seeds. Collared doves are mainly interested in mixed seeds, plus a few mealworms. And the robin is most picky, only choosing mixed seeds. Lesson 2. The food you put out affects the birds you attract in. I'm lucky enough to live near to a meteorology station, so the forecast screenshot for the day was handy and accurate. It was a sunny but cool winter's day, with the temperature rising to a high of 8 Celsius during my birdwatch hour. The trap cams were active from 8 until 4, and showed that my bird numbers were lower at midday, though more species were around. Lesson 3. Time of day seems to make a difference to how many birds you see. Light, wind, and cloud cover may also be factors. So, what my experiment is starting to show is that there's a variation between recorder in bird food choice and in bird activity at different times of day. Does this matter? Yes, on a local scale. But when amassed with millions of data UK-wide, the detail disappears in favour of broad trends which can be spotted and acted upon. Citizen scientists have helped house sparrows in this way, when an alarming decline of 53% since 1979 was highlighted, meaning conservation action could be taken to reverse it. It's results like these that show just how powerful citizen science data can be in the fight to save wildlife. Our collective amnesia need not be the cause of species loss in the future. Citizen scientists and the power of data unite. I think Charles Darwin and Gilbert White would be pretty impressed.